Hello, welcome back to the Amputee Angler and a happy new year to you. I'm in the car because it's really windy outside. I'm with Ellie today.
Hey.
And we are going to be doing a coastal cleanup. So really stormy weather the last couple of weeks. Pushes the swells in, pushes all the rubbish in right up the beach. You don't see me on shingle much because it is a real pain for me to walk on, but the sea's actually leveled it out quite a bit nicely. So we've got bags, we've got gloves, and we're going to get down there and see what we can find. I think there is actually someone already down there having a forage about. So we'll get down there, join those, and I'll show you a little bit about where we are. We're on Seaford Beach, and then when I get home I will voice this over as we're going along doing the cleanup, because it is really windy and you just won't hear me. So let's get going. Here we go then, straight away. We've got a pink poly buff and an old can there that fishermen use to mark their nets with. We're looking out a splash point here. There's the bit that steps out and you have a short little walk down, and then you come up a little ramp and you are on the little jetty that comes out. This is a little memorial bench here. People put little plaques down in the shape of fish, which is quite nice. And it goes all the way along. Looking east there, you got down towards Beachy Head that way. And then walks out here and you've got like a little groin. People fish off this, a lot of mackerel, bass, scarfish in the summer. And then you can see down the beach there, New Haven in the far distance. Really popular fishing beach, this one. And you can see the high tide lines there with the seaweed and bits and bobs, and this is what we're going to be working today. You see a lot of colour in the water there. You can see it, a lot of rainwater recently. And it didn't half make the water murky, and it was still quite choppy and a bit of wind there. But yeah, it's a good little fishing spot, this one. It does get plagued a bit in the summer, but yeah, pretty good overall. And you can see a nice long beach there, almost like a mini Chesil. And then down there, Bass Central in there. The first find of the day. Drop straight into this. This wasn't a place that was found. The first thing I found, little juvenile lobster claw there. He's been bashed about. The weather in this particular area is like a little washing machine, but yeah, he's obviously been beaten up a little bit there. And you can see just looking along there the sort of items that are found. Ellie's already busy picking stuff up. Bits of pallet. You'll notice there's loads of cuttle bones scattered all through here across this beach. And you've got a load of bladderwrack here, seaweed. Big bubbles on it. Squeeze that, you almost get like a little gel come out, and there's another cuttle and loads of mussels. It was just strewn down here with these, absolutely everywhere. Tide has just brought loads of this stuff in with this bladderwrack. Well kegs in there. Put that in my pocket. Found a few different varieties of these. These are Mermaid Purses, as kids would call them, but basically egg sacs of various different species. This one here I think was a spotted ray, and I'll insert a little infographic in the top right for you to have a look at and make your mind up. Tell me if I'm wrong, but you're going to see a few more as we go through, and you'll probably spot a few as we go. Another whelk egg here as well. Just loads of different items through here. Bit of rubber there, some sort of fishing gear again, and you can see a dogfish case just there that I've just gone over with my hand. Hair scrunchy. You get loads of little tiny bits of stuff mixed in with this. This is a whiffler crab. Again, he's been battered up there, pretty poor state for himself now. But in these clumps of seaweed, just have a little root through and you find all sorts of little treasure. More mussels here, just going through. And you see me just picking through it all. And you see there's loads of mussels, there's whelk eggs, there's a few razor clams in there as well. And here's a little cat shark, otherwise known as a dogfish egg case. And yeah, again, we found loads of these. You can see they attach themselves onto rocks and weed with that little spiral at the top there. This is an interesting find here. This is a rock oyster, a bit like the films where you find a pearl inside it, except we don't. These hang on to the side of harbour walls and reefs and gullies. This Rice Krispie looking ball here, this is a whelk egg. So this is what whelk eggs look like, the little snails. This is what their eggs are basically, and they wash up. Oh, nice. And Ellie here on her forage has found the remains of a poor old spider crab. I don't think this has been peeled. I think this is where he's been battered and picked apart by gulls. But yeah, spider crab, very common around here, an absolute pain for fishermen. Absolute real pain. We've got loads of different plastics here. This bit here is a bit of trill netting. There was loads of this here. It's not just actual nets that have washed up. They have a thing called chafers on the bit of the nets where the fish gather up at the end. They tie long strips of this just to protect the main net. But this is actually a bit of twine that's come over. The chafing stuff is normally the orange and thin stuff. Bit of a plastic bucket here or container. And here was an interesting one. 400 million of these, I reckon, in the sea now. 400 million disposable face mask. And we found one in a little tiny section of beach. So yeah, so I'm glad we stopped plastic straws to put 400 million of those in the ocean. But that's one less that we've got to deal with now. So that's happy days. You'll see here in this little tiny clump of bladderwrack and kelp that's all mixed in here, you can see how much twine and trill net is through there. It just can't be helped, you know, this stuff happens. There's a lot of ghost nets out there and eventually it just rots through and bits of it wash up. No fisherman's throwing this over on purpose, so don't think they are, because they're not, but you can just see here in one little clump just how much there is, and Ellie's here trying to liberate some of it from it, but it did half get tangled up in there and it's just absolute lots of it. I bet you'd get God knows how many bags of stuff if you was to walk the length and breadth of this beach, or probably any shingle beach on the south coast. This would just be washing up everywhere and there will be tons and tons of it. So it's nice to do a little bit here, lots of different colours and varieties from lots of different boats. So it's not just the English or French or one type, it comes from everywhere, this net stuff. Absolutely a plague on our beaches. Here we go then, find of the day. Those of you would have guessed it, Goose Barnacles. This was an old net marker, a Dan as we call them here on the south coast, or Enders, a bit further west. Yeah, this was one that had washed up. Obviously been out there a while because it was absolutely covered in growth. Loads and loads and loads of Goose Barnacles everywhere. Actually worth a lot of money to the Spanish, a lot of money, but this was nice to get this off the beach. Look, here's my old boot from Afghan, finally washed up on our shores 11 years later. Jokes aside, find these quite often down there, old soles of boots and stuff. Get a lot of wellies as well. God knows how many fishermen are losing wellies, but yeah, as normally littered with these are these shoe soles and stuff. More trill netting and a bit of a lobster pot entrance there or bottom, I think, as well. A little bit of like a mesh, plastic meshing, but yeah, another good little patch here. This carrier bag, you can see how long it's been on the sea for. It's actually degrading. It's gone really thin, clear, and going a bit brittle, but again, just searching through, there's just loads of little bits in there. And again, there's another bit of carrier bag and another cuttlefish. Good one, this one. I think this one's actually from a blonde ray. You can see how big it is. Having a little look about, that says it's from a blonde ray, that one. So that was a nice little find. And again, just absolutely tons and tons of plastic. Loads of little micro bits. These are the bit we're trying to get rid of. Just get all these gone. You can see how much it wraps up in all this seaweed and stuff. It's a right pain to get out sometimes. And of course, it catches sea life and wildlife. More whale kegs. And got a bird feather there actually from a seagull. But yeah, absolutely polluted through here.
right?
Cool. There we go. That's the end of our video there. Have a quick look at these goose barnacles. Absolutely fascinating things. Thanks for watching. We'll do more of these. It was good fun actually, and nice to do our bit for the environment. So catch you in the next one, and have a great new year.